Welcome to the Wednesday Word of the Week. We're looking at two words this week, agathos, good, and poneros, evil. There's another word for evil, kakos. That's a different word with a slightly different context, different semantic slant to it. We'll look at that another time. Today, agathos, good, poneros, evil. Let's take a look at them both. They both have a physical and an ethical component, and we'll look at the physical first. Agathos, physically, talking about a real thing, an item, a place, a concept, means that it's fit, capable, or useful. Poneros, physically, if we're describing a thing, would mean that it's sickly, in poor condition, not useful. So, for instance, a bicycle with square wheels, one might say, is poneros. It's not just a lousy bicycle. It's almost evil to put square wheels on the bicycle and expect you to pedal it. The ethical component of agathos means to be moral, to be upright, to have inner worth. If you are talking about something poneros from an ethical standpoint, it's evil, wicked, degenerate, worthless. So let's start out with an example of agathos in Matthew chapter 10, verse 17. And I'm going to read the first part in English, and then we'll dig into the Greek for the second part. And as he was setting out on his journey, a man ran up and knelt before him and asked him, let's take a look in Koine, what the young man asked Jesus. Didaskale agape, ti poieso hina zoin ionion, Claronomeso. Claronomeso is a mouthful. But the important part here, didaskale agape, good teacher. So we get to see something here that we don't get to see all that often. We have a vocative noun and a vocative adjective. Good teacher. So the vocative, like your vocation, your calling in life, is what you use when you're calling to someone. Hey, John, that's the vocative, to get him to turn around, right? You're calling someone. So here, the young man kneels before Jesus and says, didaskale agape, good teacher. He doesn't just say teacher, he says good teacher. So people have argued for years that the young man is trying to butter Jesus up. He's trying to flatter him so that he'll be more likely to answer his question. Set that aside for a moment. Whether that is or isn't the case, let's take the term on face value. If he refers to him as didaskale agape, teacher, good one, good teacher, what does that tell us about his view of Jesus? Well, if we think back to what we said agathos means, that it means fit, capable, useful, and in an ethical sense, moral, upright, of inner worth, that's the kind of teacher you want to get your questions answered by, isn't it? So we see in his writing that, we see in his statement, as Matthew records, as Mark records this interaction between Jesus and the young man, that the young man believes Jesus to be fit, capable, useful, moral, and upright, the kind of teacher that you want to answer your questions. Now let's look at an example of poneros, and we're going to look in Romans chapter 12, verse 9, where Paul is the writer. And one of the cool things about Paul is that guy loved making lists. He loved specifically making lists of virtues and vices as well as blessings and curses. And so, when you know you've got a guy who likes that kind of thing, he's a man of contrasts. His whole story is a story of contrasts. His life is a life rich in contrasts. And here in Romans 12, verse 9, we'll get to see a couple of pretty good contrasts. Let's start with the beginning of it. Hey, agape anupokritos. I want to say this word a couple times so we hear it out. Anupokritos. So we've got the alpha at the beginning, and in this case, because of the noun starting with a vowel, we don't just get the alpha, we get an alpha nu, so that it's easier to say. It didn't sound that easy to say when I said it, did it? But what he's saying is, hypocritus, we know as hypocrite. We talked about this a month or so ago in a Word of the Week, right? So unhypocrite would be the opposite, would be non-hypocritical. So what Paul says is, hey agape, let love be, we're supplying the verb, sincere, unhypocritical. Pretty cool stuff. Just a compliment back to a word that we've studied in the past. Let love be sincere. Let it be without pretense, falseness, without putting on an act. Let it be unhypocritical. And then we go to the second part of verse 9, which is pretty awesome. Apostugontes to poneron kolomenoi to agatho. Okay? So he says, apostugontes, abhor topaneron, the evil, abhor the evil, kolomenoi, cling to agatho, to the good. Abhor the evil, cling to the good. So he's got a vice and a virtue. And his advice to us, his instructions to us is to push away, abhor, turn away from evil things, the evil, and cling to, hold on to the good, whatever the good is. So in that description, in the sort of the visual of it, if you play it out in your mind's eye, it sounds like evil and good as something outside of ourselves, doesn't it? When you encounter evil, abhor it. When you encounter good, cling to it. Pretty awesome. All right, let us carry on and see good and evil not outside of ourselves, but inside of ourselves in Matthew chapter 12, verse 35. And right before this, Jesus says these words, "For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." Then we get this in Koine. Ho agathos anthropos, ek tu agathu thesaurus, ekbale agatha. Okay, so ho agathos anthropos, the good man, right? Ek tu agathu thesaurus, from his good storehouse, from his good treasure, from his good treasury, ekbale, he casts out agatha, good things. So let's go back. The good man from his good storehouse casts out good things. Remember what Jesus said immediately before this. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Then he says, the good man, out of his good thesaurus, so where we get our English word thesaurus, storehouse, treasury. If you open up the thesaurus, it's a treasury of words. You don't have to settle on just one word. There's a treasury of different words, ways for you to say the same thing. Out of the good man, out of his good storehouse, he casts out into the world good things. Out of the treasure of your heart, your mouth speaks. Let's look at the second part of the verse. Kai ho poneros anthropos, ek tu poneru thesaurus, ekbale ponera. So identical construction, replacing all of the agathos with all of the poneros, all of the forms of it. So just like the good man, now we have, and the evil man from his evil thesaurus, from his evil storehouse, casts out evil things. Pretty powerful. We face agathos and poneros outside of ourselves. We also have agathos and poneros inside of ourselves. And Jesus tells us in this great passage from Matthew that whatever the nature of your thesaurus, whatever the nature of your storehouse, your treasury, from that, out of that, you can only cast what was in it. A friend of mine many years ago, Pam Bosarge, said to me words I'll never forget: you cannot sell from an empty basket. And Jesus here says, whatever's in your basket is what you're going to bring out of your basket, right? From the treasure of your heart, your mouth speaks. The good man, out of his good treasure, out of his good basket, casts out good things. The evil man, out of his evil storehouse, basket, heart, casts out evil things. Wonderful stuff. So, Either agathos or poneros will come from us depending on the nature of our thesaurus, or the nature of our treasury. Whatever we have in ourselves is what's going to come out. And that's based on that nature. What can we do to deal with the nature of our treasury? I think we can go back to Romans 12 and close today with Paul's words from verse 9. Astugontes to poneron, kolomenoi to agatho. Abhor that which is evil and cling to that which is good. That's what's going to give you a good thesaurus, a good storehouse out of which you'll cast good things. Thanks for joining me today for the Wednesday Word of the Week, and until we see each other again, Karis Kai Reina Humin. Grace and peace to you.